Chronicles of Rohn. I'm your host, Alan J. Campbell. I am part of the dynamic duo in tonight. My partner, Keith Footy, the minister, is out this evening. Solo, and I got my cape on to do this. Hey, we're going to get into a couple of things. First, I want to give a shout out to a couple of guys. I had an issue with my phone today. Now, the funny part about that is I went to, and I've been having this trouble probably since October, and we're in December. It's December 4th, by the way. And getting into that, went in to have somebody try to help me rectify this issue with my phone. So I went to three or four different stores. Nobody could help me with this. So I just on a whim today, just stopped at another store and went in and asked the guy, hey, I have a technical problem. Show me what I need to do, or how can you fix this? This guy comes out, takes the phone, he looks at it, boop, 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 bada boom, bada bing, phone is fixed. Now, not only that, but the funny part about that is that I had went to two different, this was the stores that I went to prior, had a white guy that couldn't figure it out, and I had a couple of Hispanics that couldn't figure out. The store that I went to had two brothers in there, had two black guys in there who were about the business. So I want to thank these two guys over there, Metro PCS, Keith and Mike over there, because they got two stores. Main store is 2314 West, check that, 2314 South State Street, 2314 South State Street. That's in Chicago. But they also have another store that they also have. And this one is 947 East Sibley Boulevard in Dalton. But I want to thank these two guys, particularly Keith, because he was the one that got the tech that got my phone back to where I needed to be. So once again, thanks a lot, fellas. I want to give a shout out to that PCS Metro PCS. Check that. But to get into our stories tonight, there's several things that I'm going to definitely get into, and it's a lot that's going on in the world and in the news, and a lot of this is merely distractions. And we have to, once again, wake up as I say, the black mind, citizen subject. We're still on that. Yes, we are, because we have to wake up the mind here. We got to wake this up. A couple of stories that lead off. First thing, I know everybody's happy about this. I know I am. The sugar beverage tax is no longer in effect as of December 1. So I know people were out there buying all of their Gatorades and their soda pops and their other juices and things of that nature. So I know everybody's happy about that. There was a discussion in the chambers of the county commission, and they were talking about legalization of what? Marijuana. Yes, man. Talking about, they actually brought that up. Now, there's a little bit of argument. This is off topic for another subject, but there's an argument when people say, well, should we legalize that? My opinion, absolutely. What you do is what should be done is that you tax it. You tax the hell out of it, like you do cigarettes, like you do alcohol. You tax it. One woman says that, and I quote her, that this is not the answer to our financial woes. What we're doing is that we're encouraging people to use drugs. Well, isn't tobacco harmful? Actually, it's more harmful than marijuana, because the tobacco has what they call a narcotic called nicotine. Why do you think that you are addicted to the cigarette? Why do you think that you're addicted to the taste? See, this is a part about having a little bit of common sense. Common sense. In Colorado, they have this, and it is a known fact that their The usage has gone up. We will agree that that's going to happen. People are going to do what they do, or she calls it. We're not going to encourage people to engage in certain vices. Well, people drink. That's a vice. People gamble. That's a vice. Um, and other things. But anyway, see, these are the things that they want to really get you distracted from on what they're trying to do and how they can rectify certain things. The other story, I mentioned this the last time on the last show that there was a Baltimore, and see once again, you haven't heard any more about this. In Baltimore on November 14th, there was a police officer by the name of Detective Sean Suter who was killed in the line of duty. Now, and I have a problem with this. Now, he and his partner were out investigating a homicide, or actually, I believe it was a triple homicide. They saw a man that was acting or appeared suspicious. Detective Suter approached the man. Now, here's the problem that I have. Where's his partner? You have a partner. He had a partner. Where was he during the time that they were questioning this individual? And the funny part about it, they don't have any, from last report, they don't have any leads, they don't have any description, they don't even have an idea on who the suspect could be, who murdered this police officer. But his partner says, well, when I heard the shots, I ducked for cover and I was trying to make my way over to him. That doesn't really make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense. Now, here's the shocker. Here's the shocker to this. This police officer, Detective Sean Suter, 43, African American or black, a father of five, a husband and a father of five, was scheduled to testify before a grand jury the day before his murder, to testify against other police officers for racketeering. Yeah, that's exactly what we all should be thinking and doing. What was scheduled to testify before a federal grand jury? Let me correct that. A grand jury for federal racketeering charges. There were several officers that were indicted in March and of August of this year. And this officer somehow or another winds up dead. See, that's the part to where we have to ask ourselves, what's really going on? See, when you're willing to do this and to silence an individual who is in the process of doing what is right or doing what he needs to do, this is what happens. This is what happens. So this is the scary part, because they don't have the witness to collaborate the charges to these. So what happens to these defendants? But so you don't hear any more about that. We're going to push that under the rug. This is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to do. Because now, trust me, hold on to your seats, because I got another bombshell for you that's really going to really hopefully get you to thinking. It's get to my viewers and my listeners, get them to thinking about what is really going on and paying close attention. And not only that, but do the fact finding. Check this stuff out. I just don't put all of this in a hat and pull it out and say, this is what I'm going to do. It doesn't work that way. Fact finding. That is one of the things about journalism, which I'm really enjoying and doing. Fact finding, because you're digging all of this information up and you say, what? Huh? These are what these people are doing? Absolutely. You know, it's one of the things that sometimes I catch a lot of heat for is that when I discuss Trump and the previous administration. Now, don't get it twisted. It's not the fact that I support Trump or I like Trump. Don't confuse the two. Do not confuse the two. It's when you see the direction that things are going, or the direction that someone is, the hard line that they're taking of getting things done. This is giving them the support. Say, hey, this is what needs to be done. This is a person who's not afraid to do the things that are needed and necessary. Now, there's a lot of talk about the tax reform. Okay, what they're trying to do is they're trying to change the tax code. See, what people need to realize is that when people say, well, Donald Trump has filed bankruptcy 7 different times, you know why? And he was able to hold on to his little kingdom of the world, or his fortune, whatever the case may be. But what he did is that he used the same process, the same democratic way that any number one of us can use. We just have to what? Open a book. We just have to read up on it. We have to study and understand how it works. Now, the idea about the change in the tax code was they're looking to actually change the tax and keep it in and safeguarding it. That's putting safeguards around it to where no one else can touch it. And they're talking about doing this for 40 years, and some of it keeping it permanent. Now, when there's 7, and you have to really get into this, and I don't want to get too much in it now because I don't want this to go over people's head. But what you need to do is Google it, the tax code, and get a full understanding. Read it. It's 497 pages, and trust me, that's a lot to read, and it's a lot to decipher and fully understand. But what this does is that it's supposed to be designed to help. And people are upset that, hey, you know, the upper echelon, or the 1%ers are being taxed a lot less. No, they're going to be taxed more, because what happens when you're giving people tax breaks, that opens the door for job growth. Hey, we're able to pay people these certain wages. Like, people are crying about, hey, I want the $15 I want minimum wage to be $15. Well, you have to give people incentives, and you have to break that off. You have to do that. We have to do this. And this is the direction that it's going. So what has happened? The House has already passed a version of the impending tax code, and the Senate, and they managed to get it through the Senate Friday. Check that, late Friday night, early Saturday morning. So now it's pretty much ready to go onto Trump's desk and to be signed so the bill can be signed into law. But understand, this is beneficial for a lot of people, especially, and they say it's not helping the middle class. No, it's subject to help you, because there's certain things that now you'll be able to claim as a deduction. Some things you won't, because they're taking those out. But they're trying to find a way to where everyone, when you make that money, that's your money. This is all what he's trying to do and present. This is it. But when we get to that tax code, when we get to all of this, see, this is just another form of distraction on the real things that are actually going on, or what is happening. And we have to get a full understanding on these particular things. Now, the other thing, when we get into it, is what they're not talking about in the news. And this was brought to my attention. I had to look this up. They're currently, right now, in the country of Libya. See, this is, let me, I'm gonna pause on that one. I'm gonna come back to that. Here's another distraction. The storm of the sexual harassments against these high-powered individuals over there at NBC and Fox, such as the recent one to fall is Matt Lauer. Now, the funny part about Matt Lauer is that Matt Lauer was supposed to be he was supposed to be the all-American dad, and even when his 2 co-hosts found out last Tuesday morning that he had been terminated, they fired this guy Monday night, only for him to find out Tuesday morning when he shows up. Hey, dude, you're not. Hey, he was actually escorted out of the building at NBC. But this is nothing new. This is once again, this is white people ratting out each other. This is the proverbial, the chickens have come home to roost. This is what is happening. This is the level of debauchery, the level of chaos that has continued to plague us in society. This is nothing new. It's just that they got caught. It's an old saying to where you get somebody in front of a judge and they're standing there or they're in prison and they're crying and they're saying, "Oh, boo-hoo, and I'm so sorry." No, what is it? Are you sorry because are you crying because you're sorry, or are you crying because you got caught? Hmm. That's the question. That's the $64,000 question. Now, Matt Lauer, this guy is making, and I kid you not, a truckload of money, $25 million annually. That's a year for all those who are a little slow on the train right now. That is a year. You're making $25 million a year, and you are allegedly hassling women in your office, even allegedly locking some in your office, exposing yourself. At some point or another, what did you think was going to happen? Oh, that's right, because it's been going on for so long till now it has become rampant. Now, um, one of the heads of NBC, and I believe his name is Andy Lack. He says, and I quote, um, "Over the past 20 years, we've never had a complaint against Matt Lauer until now, but we believe that these allegations are credible, and we believe that this is not an isolated incident." Now, is that a guy trying to save his job, or is that a guy who actually believes what's being said? That sounds like a guy trying to save his job, because according to the complainants, that they had brought this to HR, which somebody's going to get fired over there, and then they brought it to the head of NBC, which there has to be heads to roll over there. And let's really get it straight. It is not um, what's happening now. We're in this environment to where years ago you could show up at your office and you could tell a coworker, a female coworker, you know what? Hello, you could at one point you could say, "Hello, hey, good morning. How are you doing? Your hair looks nice. You know what? I like that perfume. What are you wearing? That's a really snazzy outfit that you're wearing." Years ago you could do that. But see, years ago that there was no innuendo or connotation. You could even sometimes tell, you know, dirty jokes, depending, and that depends on the context of the joke. But what now right now is where we're at, is that it makes it very difficult for men to approach women in the workplace, even in a business fashion. But at the same time, you have to understand, you are in a business environment. You are in a business environment. It's one thing to meet somebody you all chatting after work at a coffee shop or a bar. Totally different. But you're in a work environment. We're at a point now to where it makes it where men are going to become gun shy about how they approach women in the workplace. They're going to become gun shy. But see, this in itself is just a way of keeping you distracted from the real things that are going on, that are actually happening. Now, this is the distraction. All of these things I just spoke about takes away from the real things that are going on in the country of Libya. And I say that because Libya, excuse me, is in Africa. Africa. Now, what's happening is that they are there is an open, and I kid you not, an open slave trade of migrants, of African migrants, slaves, or slavery. Look this up. You will see they have there's and I wish I could show you the graphics. I really wish I could. To where they had one boat, and I mean this boat was packed from the front or the stern to the back or the bow, from port to starboard. That's left and that's right side of the boat, packed with live bodies, individuals, people that they have snatched up and loaded on boats and are putting them on the as they say, the chopping block, but they're putting them on the auction block, and they are selling them for what is equivalent to equivalent to American dollars or U.S. currency of $400 a head. Selling human beings. This is 2017, not 1717, not even 1617. We're in modern day. We're in current time. We're in modern times now, and this is going on. But here's the part that really that is appalling. Absolutely appalling. No one is talking about this. This is not even mainstream. You know why? Because these are black people. We have to understand where we are in society and where we are on the totem pole. Where we are. I mentioned something some time ago, and I mentioned and I said this in passing. And sometimes it's like black that we are a cursed people, that we are that this is our penance, or this is maybe that's not the right word, but we are this is our lot in life. And unfortunately, and for that's for lack of a better word, but to really consciously sell one another. Now understand, these are Europeans and a few of the natives, of the native Libyans who are doing this. You are selling, and even some are selling their own countrymen. There was one picture where they had 4 men tied by their feet, tied by their ankles, hanging upside down from a window, like, and they were hanging there, and they weren't hanging off the ground. They were hanging upside down with their ankles tied to a bar in the window, and only their hands were on the ground. It's almost like them trying to do a handstand, but they were there for auction. Where do we? You want to ask yourself, what kind of mind puts this into process to where this is okay? What kind of mind is that? You're putting guns to people's heads and forcing them into slavery. You're going into parts of the country and snatching them up and putting them on boats and selling them and dispatching them to other countries. Dispatching them as if they're livestock. As if there are livestock. If you are listening to the show, you watching the show, the phone lines are open. I'm just letting you know the phone lines are open. So give us a call here if you want to join in. If you have any more information on this topic, call us here at 708-223-8953. Give us a call here at the station. The lines are open if you want to join in this topic about slavery in Libya. Now, the other part about that is the previous administration, and I'm talking about Barack Hussein Obama, former president, and the former Secretary of State, Hillary Rodham Clinton, who helped create this maelstrom in Libya, who helped created that. And when I say that, see, these two people helped destabilize. See, let me, and I'm gonna pause there. I'm gonna pause on that particular point. The United States is not the country that you think it is, and you hear me go into this all the time. And not only that, but even to a point that we have to understand that even George Bush and Clinton and Bush and then Reagan and then Carter and so on and going further back. These people engaged in a lot of different things too. But the unfortunate part is that we have to deal with the here and now, and the fact that the United States, wherever they go to quote unquote liberate a country, no, they're going in to rob and pillage that country of its natural resources. So when they go in and when you go in and you destabilize a country, it's a reason why you go in and do that. It's a reason why the United States did that. It's a reason why the United States went to Libya and destabilized it. That was because Libya had went to a their currency Libya had went to a gold standard, which means that all of their currency was backed by gold. Libya at the time, and the man who ran Libya was Muammar Gaddafi, who ultimately was killed by members of his own forces at the behest of the United States. Because if Libya managed to get other countries to go to a gold standard, that would have completely bankrupted the United States. See, understand something. The money that you carry around in your pocket, that paper money, if you look at it, it will say Federal Reserve, which by the way, is not federal. It is not federal at all. Hey, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show, Chronicles of Rohn. Who do I have on the phone? Where are you calling from?
This is Jay from Georgia.
What's going on, Georgia?
Okay, so let me jump in real quick. First thing, Libya, and the slavery issue with Libya. I want to correct two things. First thing is, those are not native Libyans. What happened was, which is very simple, you had a power vacuum that was created by our federal government. If you recall, last year, Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama made it a joke to say, we came, we saw, we killed them. The thing with Libya was a very secure and wealthy country. They paid you to go to school. They paid you to help build a business. And they were built on what we don't like to call the gold standard. The problem with Gaddafi is Gaddafi became an enemy of us. He always has been on the border, but he became a clear enemy of us when he called Barack Obama out on the floor as a Muslim on the UN. And then he further said that the Arab nations and the nations of the East should combine or unite and force the West to now do business on the gold standard, because they are taking our pricing of oil and everything else of our natural resources and dumbing them down, forcing us to negotiate. We don't need to negotiate. We have gold. If we force them to use our dinar, or the currency that he wanted, which was going to be based on gold, now we're equal. If you don't have enough gold to talk about what we're trying to do, we're not going to make negotiations. So that's the first thing. He became an enemy based upon that thing. So it was the United States' agenda, along with their long-standing agenda to take down 5 nations in 7 years, Libya being one of them, along with Syria, Iran, Iraq, and Pakistan. But anyway, that's another story. But the true issue is Barack Obama and his administration created that vacuum. They took out an established leader and an established country with its own wealth system, its own economy, and destroyed it in the course or for the cause of liberation. Mm-hmm. Second thing, you're talking about cigarettes or the legalization of marijuana. Now, here is a distinct difference in the dangers of alcohol and tobacco as we know it, which is why there is an exact agency called Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms to help regulate the addictiveness and the collection of how potent those drugs are to the public. Because what they're doing with tobacco specifically is tobacco can only be really deadly once you add certain additives to it. And they do that to help enhance the flavor and to enhance the nicotine induction into your bloodstream.
Right.
Which is menthol and things like that. So that's why they really, really forced it to be regulated. Because before then, everybody was doing it and they couldn't make money off of it.
Right. And would you?
The dangers have always been there.
Right. And let me jump in right quick with you on this. I want to converse with you on the one thing now. And remember now, and if you recall, now in 70, check that. I believe it was 72 or 76 when R.J. Reynolds, correct me if I'm wrong. Now I believe it was one. R.J. Reynolds went up on the Hill. The R.J. Reynolds executives went up on the Hill and said to Congress, did they not say that nicotine is not a narcotic?
Actually, they did. They actually did. Here's the other part of that. 10 years later, after they lost, 15 years later in 92, when they lost their landslide lawsuit of the effects of tobacco,
right.
They were then forced, the R.J.R. Reynolds Tobacco Company and others, because he was just the top person that had an actual figurehead. But Paul Mall and all the other ones, but the big tobacco companies then had to create a coalition of anti-tobacco alternatives. So when you see these little things about the truth about tobacco, the truth about this, you do know that it's being funded by the same companies. It's what they call a give back.
Right.
If we're taking this amount of money and, we're technically poisoning our own society, we have to give back a level of funding for awareness and understanding of how destructive this product is.
Mm-hmm. And right after and after that too, after they fessed up, that's when they inserted the message from the Surgeon General that this is, now they say this is harmful to your health.
No. The Surgeon General's message has always been on there.
Mm-hmm.
It had to be on there from the FDA.
Right.
Because it was a controlled narcotic.
Mm-hmm. But remember now, they didn't admit that it was a narcotic.
No, but they did admit that it was
harmful substance.
Exactly. So
anyway,
that's my 2 cents. Just wanted to clarify that thing on the tobacco and the marijuana. The reason why they haven't completely agreed on the issue of marijuana is there's no way to regulate how much is enough and how to regulate that into a taxable point that makes sense.
Right, because there are certain states that are really leaning towards that because they're looking at it as they say, to take a word from you, is a give back. Hey, this is going to help us create a revenue stream to where we can fill these gaps. And according to Colorado, Colorado and Montana, I believe is the other state where it's legal, to where they're saying that they've filled, they are filling their financial gaps with this money. But I hear what you're saying, that it's difficult to regulate because it's not like cigarettes, to where you know what's happening, you know what's in them.
Well, you know what's happening because you are controlling the product.
Right.
The product has a replicatable process. Every cigarette manufacturer has their own formulation. They have their own formulation of filters. They have their own formulation of papers. They have their own formulation of even the amount of formaldehyde that they place into the tobacco to preserve it. Right. See, but you can't do that once you legalize just the bare herb of marijuana. What do you regulate?
You're really regulating that herb.
Sure, but then again, and then there's the new tax code, which I'm glad it looks like it passed. See, that's another thing. We're living in a society where this is just smoke and mirrors. And the ones who want to stay asleep, let's just put a cover over you because you're already gone. But the ones who want to know got to wake up. But there's a lot of them that don't want to know. So each his own.
Yeah. Well, actually, for the tax code, it got through both the House and the Senate. It got through the House earlier this month, and it got through the Senate. They hammered it out Friday night, early Saturday morning. So now it goes. So now it goes to it goes in front of the GOP, and it's pretty much going to get through. Then after it gets through there, because now they have four. Check that, they have 3 weeks to get it to the president's desk so he can sign it. Because his words were, "I want to have this signed by Christmas," in which which a lot of things that they're putting in. This is going to trust. Make no mistakes, people, that this is going to be law, and and you have to understand it's going to be beneficial. There's certain give as you said before, Georgia. There's certain givebacks that you have to instill in order to stem the tide.
The first thing that I like about it is it repeals the Obamacare tax.
Yes, exactly. Yes, it does.
See, you see, people are not paying attention to that. So you were getting penalized for not having insurance that you can't qualify for, and the subsidies won't allow you to get. So let's do away with that. It doesn't work.
Exactly.
But let's also work in your tax bracket so that you can take more money home and try to equalize your finances. But anyway, that's my time. Thank you for that.
All right, no problem. Not a problem. Thank you, George. Appreciate you. Yeah, I'm gonna say this right quick. And when he mentioned the Obama health care. Now, here's the thing about this. And under the previous administration, under Obamacare, it clearly states the Affordable Care Act, health care in which people are fined for not having health care because they can't afford health care, which is supposed to be affordable, but since they're fined, it makes it even more unaffordable. More unaffordable. So think about this for a minute, people. Think about these things that we are getting into. Trust me, do your research, do the fact finding. We're gonna take us a little break here on the Chronicles of Rohn. All right. Hey, if you have a comment or a suggestion for a show, please feel free to call us here at the station. Leave it on our voicemail at 872-267-1381 for comments and suggestions. Nubian Beauty of Hair. Check out their website for their fabulous products. LuxuryHairDirect.com/by-Nubian 4 dots. That's LuxuryHairDirect.com/by/Nubian 4 dots. Remember, put the dot at the end of that 4. Give us a call here at the radio station and check to join on this topic. 708-223-8953 here on Chronicles of Rohn. Hey, and we're back here on the Chronicles of Rohn. I am your host, Alan J. Campbell here. We are getting into a variety of topics. Right now, we were talking about the situation in Libya, about the trading, about the slave trade that is going on over there, and the fact that mainstream media, and I say mainstream, and I'm talking about MSNBC, NBC, ABC, CBS, Fox, are not discussing this. But what they are discussing is things that don't actually mean a hill of beans. Oh, hey, a man lost his dog today, and somehow or another the dog walked 300 miles back to his house and he found his way home. So that's supposed to be news. Okay. So that's news. Another thing about, so this is distraction. The earlier today, this was about 2:30 this morning. We had a woman that was carjacked in the prestigious Bridgeport community, and she was a beat reporter for the Chicago Tribune, and she not only had her car, no, excuse me, not her car, she had the company car stolen. The funny part about these brazen individuals, and you know what, and this is funny, I know this is terrible, but this is me. This is funny. She had her car stolen from her, had the car stolen from her right across the street from the police. Not only in front of, not she, it was in a strip mall on 32nd and Halsted, which is where a Dunkin' Donuts is, which is right across the street from what? The Ninth District Police Station. If that's not comical, I don't know what is. A carjacking at a Dunkin' Donuts, where that's supposed to be almost the safest place in America, and then literally across the street from the police station. Now, will we say these guys are brazen? No, these are super carjackers. You got to have some cojones to pull that one off. You know what? They got the car, they got away, hey, more power to you. I know that's wrong, but you know what? This is where we're at, to where people this we see these things, and we've gotten so distracted, and we've gotten so inundated with things that don't really mean a lot. But going back to what Georgia was saying is the fact that the previous that Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton helped create this maelstrom in Libya. When they went over there, as they say, we saw, we came, we killed him. Okay, that's you know. But on the flip side, nobody raised an eyebrow or batted an eye when that was said. Now let Trump say something, the whole world, the whole world decides it wants to become intelligent. Oh my goodness, did he actually say that? Yes, he did. See, the real problem is that we have been asleep for so long, and we have been force fed the BS, and we've accepted it as being actual and accepted it as being factual, instead of saying, look who's telling us this and look who's dispensing this information. The United States goes to different countries and destabilizes them, primarily because to take the resources, or to corner the resources, or to control it. Libya was on a gold standard. Well, very simple. Gaddafi told him, "Hey, if you don't, go, if you're not on a gold standard, we can't do business with you because we can't trust your money. Your money literally carries no weight. Gold carries weight because it's a tangible item. If you look at your money right now, if you're in possession of any U.S. currency, take it out and look at it, and on that it will say the Fed. As I was just before we went to break, it says Federal Reserve note. Now, if you're familiar with, because years ago it used to say something else, and I want people to think about that. If you know what it is, give me a call. I know what it is. I'm not just not gonna tell you, but it used to say something else. But now it says note. See, when you use the term note, that's a form of an IOU, which is about as worthless as the paper that it's written on, which explains why the United States is in debt with the trillions of dollars. And I believe it's a three-digit. It's three digits in the trillions, and it's growing every day, every day, every day. That's because of how, not so much as how we're spending, but where our money is, how we're going about this. And this is where, when you go into a country and you completely destroy it, then you take over, like they did in Libya. And that gives other entities, whoever that may be, to come in and completely ravage the land. including people who are now considered property, who are considered goods, who are considered this now. Do your homework, do your research, look into this, because understand something. Your beloved Barack Obama, as everyone wants to continue to uphold and put him on this pedestal, this is not the guy who you think he is. Yeah, he's had his hand in a lot of different things. But the unfortunate part, and why I'm so hard on, because he's had his hands in things that, one, he should not have never had. And then even when Gaddafi called him out, quote unquote, our Muslim brother in the West, our Muslim brother. See, that caused a lot of issues for some people. A lot of issues. When the United States went in and helped participate in removing Saddam Hussein, the same principle. The same principle. And when we think about these things, the United States, and not to lead the United States out, but part of Eastern Europe, which the UK, or England, they all have a hand in certain things, and a lot of countries want to get their hands. They want to control the Middle East, because the Middle East is where the money is where the oil is. I mean, they got so much oil, they drink it like water, but they have so much over there. So what we need to do is go in and destabilize these countries, give them over to other entities to where they can make slaves out of them. And the same thing, and not to leave out another part of Africa, Sierra Leone, which is where most of your diamonds come from, or they call them blood diamonds. And if you've ever seen a raw diamond looks like it's literally just a raw. It looks like a piece of. It just looks like a rock, unrefined. That's really what it looks like. But at the same time, this is someone going. This is another country going in and pillaging the country of its natural resources. If you think about this for a minute, that Africa is the only is one of is the is to my knowledge is the only continent on the planet that has that has a abundancy of resources, minerals, gold, silver, diamonds, which is what and if and which is what is trade, and which is the same thing that is traded on the stock floor. The same thing, gold, silver. Then you got diamonds that are there too. But these are countries, including the United States, that are going in and trying to gain control, but at the same time enslaving people to get these items. Enslaving is the same thing that I'm coming back over to America. This is what's happening to us. We have become enslaved in our minds to what? Social media, to gym shoes, being sneakerhead. It's one thing to be a sneakerhead, but then we have to have the newest editions of the Jordans or the LeBrons or whatever's out there right now. We become enslaved, and we are enslaving ourselves by becoming wrapped up or wrapped up in material things, and at the same time inundating ourselves with things that mean us no good, and things and people. This is where we are at, with this. And when we get to this point of what we're dealing with, and looking at how these people are being treated, you have to ask yourself, are we still in this day and age where this goes on? Yes, we are. We most certainly are. This is why it's imperative that we have to start reading. This is why it's imperative that we have to start educating ourselves, educating our children, respecting our elders, respecting our women, men, our black men need to grow up, need to insist upon, hey, this is what we need to be doing. Look at what has happened. If we decide to come together as a people, there is nothing that we can accomplish anything, because the Hispanics do it and they come together. The Orientals come together and they do it. The white people come together and they do it. We need to do the same thing. We have to learn to become leaders instead of followers. I was watching a instant commercial today, and it goes into what it just goes into what I was just saying. Right now, you have two candidates that are running for. No, I'm sorry, you have three candidates now, but the two most prominent candidates that are running for governor right now in the state of Illinois is J.B. Pritzker and Robert Kennedy's son, Robert Kennedy Jr., I believe. Now, here's the thing about these two guys. These are two white guys, two billionaires, two billionaires who are so far removed from the black community, who have no idea what it is to have a struggle. Okay, so Kennedy, his father was killed. His father was a victim of gun violence. His father was killed. Okay, but you went on with your life. You know it was tough for everybody. But here's the thing: you've never had to struggle a day in your life. The same thing with J.B. Pritzker. Okay, who's also a billionaire, and he has it right now. And the sad part about it is that these two individuals, not only the sad part about it is that they are catering to the blacks. They are right. They are catering to us. They are pulling us in. And here it is. Once again, we are looking to white America as our savior, to save us from ourselves, or as they say, as it was said when the white man came here, when they came to Africa, we're here to save the natives from themselves. Help me understand that statement. You're here to save the natives from themselves. Didn't look like they needed your help before you got there. So what the hell makes you think they need your help now? But these are two billionaires, and these are two guys who are going to try to outspend each other. I mean, J.B. Pritzker. I mean, this guy's the fifth richest man in the United States. The fifth richest. How could he possibly even know what it's like to be poor? How could he possibly know? But see, once again, we as black people, we're getting behind this. Hey, this might be the right guy for us. How come, I don't see, don't we have any black candidates that we could support, that we can get behind? No, because we've been conditioned to believe that these people are our saviors. But hey, I appreciate y'all being with me tonight. That's my time here on the Chronicles of Rohn. I want to say thank you to my sponsors, Nubian Beauty of Hair. Like I said, check out their fabulous products for hair and cosmetics. I understand. Check out their website at luxuryhairdirect.com/Nubian4. Put that dot at the end of the 4. Not my circus, not my monkey. Good night.